In lesson 5-7, we will divide fractions and mixed numbers. So when we're dividing fractions, actually, what we're going to do is we're going to do a little change to the fraction. We're going to find something called a reciprocal, and then we're still going to multiply fractions. So that's why we've done lesson 5-7 before lesson 5-6, because 5-7 actually follows right after 5-5 nicely. So to find the reciprocal, what we do here is if we take 7/8 divided by 3/4, well, if you look at the number, the fraction 3/4, its reciprocal can be written as 4/3. So whenever you're dividing, we're actually going to change that to multiplication. So 7/8 divided by 3/4 is really the same as 7/8 times 4/3. So again, we're going to use the reciprocal of the second fraction. The first fraction stays the same, 7/8 and 7/8. But instead of dividing, we're going to multiply by the reciprocal, which just means we're going to flip that over. So obviously, you can imagine if we have a mixed number, you're going to need to get that into a fraction form, improper fraction form, and then we take the reciprocal of that. So let's try an example here. I'm going to go ahead and start by copying the problem. 2/3 divided by 4/9. We don't want to divide, so I like to circle that and copy the first fraction identical to what it was. Now we're going to multiply by the reciprocal, which is 9/4. Now we can simplify the 2 and the 4 and the 3 and the 9, and now we can just multiply straight across, which will be 3 over 2. And we know that we can subtract the 2 to have 1 left. The 2 is 1 whole, so we have 1 and 1/2 left. So this is how we'll divide fractions. We're actually just going to multiply by the reciprocal of the second fraction. So here again, start by copying the problem. 6/7 divided by 2/5. So we're not going to divide, we're going to do 6/7 times 5/2. I can simplify the 2 and the 6, and then I'll multiply straight across. It'll be 15/7. Now I'm going to subtract 7, which makes a whole. And actually, you know what? I'm going to change that. I'm going to subtract 14, because 14 would be 2 of those. So times 2 is 14. So and I'm going to have 1 left. So I have 2 whole and 1/7 left. So the 14 again made 2 whole rather than just 1 whole. Now we have a mixed number, so let's copy it again. 5/6 divided by 2 and 1/2. Remember, we're going to multiply the whole number with the denominator and then add what we get, add the product. So 2 times 2 is 4, we'll add 4. Now I'm going to rewrite it. 5/6 divided by 5/2. Now, again, we're dividing, so let's go 5/6 times 2/5. Now, the 5s can cancel, the 2 can go to 1, the 6 can go to a 3. Now we can multiply across, and we get 1/3. What you're probably noticing here is when you're dividing by small fractions, your number actually gets bigger. So you're dividing into these small little parts, so your answer gets bigger. Here you're actually dividing by a larger number, so our fraction got smaller. So you got to think about what are we dividing by, and then your answer will get a little bit smaller because of that. So if you think of this, you know, this would be about 1. This is about 3. So 1 divided by 3, well, that's 1/3. So that's your estimate for this problem. All right, so 3/8 divided by 2 and 1/2. So if you multiply these two, we get 4. And let's rewrite it. 3/8 divided by 5/2. Notice when I'm about to switch these around and find the reciprocal, then I circle the divided. Here I just rewrote it, so I didn't flip anything. So now I'm going to go 3/8 times 2/5. And the 2 can go to a 1, 8 to a 4, and now we can multiply across, and I'm going to get 3/20 for my final answer. And now we have a word problem. So a bottling machine needs to be restocked with new lids every 2 3/4 hours. If the machine runs 19 1/4 hours, how many times will it have to be restocked with lids? Well, we want to take that 19 1/4 and divide it into 2 3/4 for our groups. So let's multiply the denominator. 19 times 4, if you want, you can pull out a calculator for that. So we get 19 times 4, and that equals 76. So we need to add 76 to our numerator. And then 2 times 4 is 8, so let's add 8 to our numerator. So we get 77 over 4 divided by, we're still dividing, 11 over 4. Now that's going to be really nice when we flip this over. So let's go ahead and do that. I'm going to circle the division, and now I'm going to go 77/4 times 4 11ths. Now you see why I said that was going to be nice, because the 4's will cancel, and 11 will turn to a 1, and 77 is going to turn to a 7. So when I multiply straight across, I'm actually going to get 7 over 1, which is 7, and then I need to look at my units. So it's going to be how many times will it have to be restocked? So we'll say 7 times. And that'll be my answer. A rectangular table is 5 5/6 feet long. Okay, so we're talking about the length. If the area of the table is 20 5/12 square feet, how wide is the table? Well, if we remember what we know about area, area equals length times width. So if we're talking about length here and area being here, well, to solve for the width, we're going to have to divide by the length. So I'm going to go with 20 5/12 divided by 5 5/6. So let's multiply this whole number times the denominator. Well, 2 times 12 is 24, so we got to add 240. And 5 times 6 is 30, so let's add 30. So I'm going to have 245 divided by 12, and then we're still dividing by 35 over 6. All right, so now we need to get this to a multiplication problem. So let's go ahead and circle our division, and we'll go 245 over 12 times 6 over 35. So right away I see the 6 and the 12, so let's make the 6 a 1, 12 a 2, and 35 and 245, I see they both end in 5, so let's change the 35 to a 7, and 5 can go into this 4 times here, and there's going to be 45 left over because 24 minus 20 is 4. So 45, and then we'll get a 9. So we have a 7 and a 49. Well, that's worked out well because I can divide by 7, and I get 7 there. So now I'm going to take my 7 times 1 and my 2 times 1 to get 7 over 2. I can subtract 6, which is times 3, so that'll give me 3 whole, and I'll have 1/2 left over. Now let's figure out what our units are going to be. So 3.5 feet is my width. So we can just say 3.5 feet, and we're good. All right, so this one we're going to be substituting. So 3 times g divided by h, where g is 1/6 and h is 1/2. So 3 times 1/6 divided by 1/2. All right, so 3 would be 3 over 1. So then I can cancel the 3 and the 6 to a 2. So then 1 times 1 is 1, and 1 times 2 is 2, divided by 1/2. So we have to follow order of operations here, which is the PEMDAS that we learned at the beginning of the year. We have to do multiplication, division from left to right, just like addition, subtraction. So the multiplication is actually first, so that's why we're doing that first. Now let's go ahead and work with the division, but instead of dividing, let's multiply by the reciprocal. So let's cancel those 2's, and I'm going to get 1 over 1, which equals 1 for my answer there. All right, so that was our last example for today. If you have any other questions or would like to look at some more examples, please check the online tutors that I've put on Moodle. You can also check out the step-by-step homework helper for all the odd numbered problems in the book.